Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is Coach's Corner for the Warren JFK Volleyball Lady Eagles. DJ Yoakley, Sam Young, in his 7th year. We were just talking off the record here about how it started. So, I mean, that's a great story. And I think a great learning lesson, not only for you, but for a lot of those coaches out there that think that coaching kind of happens when you're ready. It didn't really happen that way. Can you take us through that story you just talked about?
No, yeah. So whenever I started here at the upper campus in 2018, I went to the athletic director and I said, I want to help. I want to help somewhere. I don't know where, but I just, I want to help out as an assistant. At the time, I, just recently married but no kids, so, I had free time on my hand. And a couple of weeks go by and they bring me in and they say, listen, we got a problem with volleyball. We don't have a coach.
Yeah.
The past 5 years before that, they had a new coach every single year.
Which is tough.
Yeah, so you can't really have stability with that. And so they told me, they said, if you don't take this head coach position, we're going to have to close the program. So right off the bat, I'm like, all right, this is the, pressure right away.
Hero, ladies and gentlemen, a hero.
So my idea was, hey, I want to give kids the chance to play instead of not having it.
Yeah.
It's going to help out our school because if we get girls who are interested, but then they find out, well, there's no volleyball program, maybe they don't come here. So for me, it was about like stepping up and doing something out of my comfort zone because I had no idea about volleyball. I mean, I knew nothing. Backyard picnic, 4th of July play, but I knew nothing. But for me, it was like, all right, well, this is opportunity to do something.
Yeah.
So those first couple years were pretty rough.
Yeah.
The schedule, we were in this big conference with all these Cleveland teams and we didn't really have a lot of height and didn't have a lot of players and even equipment. A lot of equipment we just didn't have.
Stuff you don't think about.
Yeah, right. And stuff I didn't even realize until you really get into it and see the other programs and what they have. So that was pretty big at that time. Was just trying to get things started and going in the right direction. And this is year 7 for me now.
Yeah.
So we've come a long way since then. We got a ton of equipment now. I have so many girls that the past several years we've had to have tryouts.
Kudos.
So this summer, I almost had as many girls as the football team had players.
Oh, wow.
So I had 27. So we had to have tryouts and everything, and that's a great thing to see that coming in. And now, with all these girls coming in, I get a lot of girls with club experience too, which has been new, the past couple of years. So now it's like, all right, not only do I have bodies, but I have bodies who are also playing club or they're doing stuff year-round with volleyball. So that's been huge for our program.
So let's take a step in the old DeLorean. Let's go 88 miles an hour back to the past. If you had a chance to talk to Sam Young 7 years ago when it felt like you were drinking out of the fire hose, what would you explain to him and what would be your advice as to what he can expect and what – what would you just tell him and say, hey, patience and persistence is going to pay off for you?
Yeah, I think as a teacher, I'm always trying to up my game. I'm always trying to figure out like how can I make lessons better? What can I do to make things more engaging?
Efficiencies.
I teach here at JFK. So, how can I reach more kids? What's my connection with kids here? So I'm always trying to figure out how do I improve. And as a coach, that's what you have to do no matter you've been doing this for 7 years, 27 years, no matter what,
Sure.
You have to improve. And you can't worry about what's happened in the past either. So I think for me, if I were to go back in time, just the idea of like, hey, just take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a while, but you're getting there.
Yeah.
So there's some learning curves. There's some things that I did. It's looking back and it's like, yeah, I definitely should not have done that.
Right.
But now it's like, all right, now I know.
Yeah.
And that, a lot of parents have reached out to, have helped in the past. One person who's really helped me out is Mrs. Consiglio.
Yep.
She had a ton of experience at LeBray. So bouncing ideas off of her, that's been really helpful for me. But I think just the idea of like, hey, just take it one day at a time, that would be the advice I'd give myself.
How have your expectations changed with this program?
In the beginning, the real reason why I did it was I wanted to give girls a chance to play and
Sure.
just keep things alive, But now that we've past 4 years or so, we've always been on the edge. It's like, we're just a couple of steps away here or a couple points away here. Now this year, I think I don't know if I want to declare there yet because
Right.
we got some big games coming up. But I think we're on that cup of finally reaching our goal. I was just looking it over the other day on Max Preps, and the volleyball program from when it started in I believe 2007 not really had that much of a winning record and
Sure.
tradition here. And this year with how we're playing and how we're communicating finally on the floor, I think this is going to be a big year for us. And I think in the past people have looked at JFK volleyball and it's like easy win.
Not so easy anymore.
I don't think it's going to be that way anymore. I think when you see us, it's going to be like, all right, like our girls, we're going to have to work, And I told our girls, like, volleyball is not a perfect game. You got to be okay with
Right.
making a mistake here and there. But how do you recover from that? If you let that one bad play affect you, well, it's going to affect you for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plays.
Right.
So you got to let it go. And a lot of my girls, they're kind of the perfection type of academics and this, and I got National Honor Society girls, which is great, but I gotta let them know, like, hey, the real world perfection is not real.
Right.
It's not gonna happen.
Point one can't affect point 25.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, so if you have a bad serve, move on. We'll worry about. I'll talk to you about it later.
Right.
Or whatnot. So just relax, move on, get this point.
Okay, so 6-4 as we sit here today, winning record as we sit here today, some big matches coming up for you. I mean, do you have that big game feel? I mean, you mentioned when you started, every game was a big game. Every match was a big match. Every set was a big set. Do you have big game feels now where you can go, okay, kind of like you said earlier, everybody looked at JFK volleyball a certain way. Can you kind of be like, okay, this is a big one for our program, this is a big one for our program, and circle them on the calendar? Or is it still kind of everyone's a big game as you move the program?
Yeah, for me, it's always that idea of, every game is the big game.
Yeah.
Because once you get in the mentality of they're not on our level, then that's where the mistakes happen. I think I'm a huge college football fan, so I think you see that a lot with college football programs.
A lot last week.
Yeah. A lot of upsets.
Yeah.
NIU going to Notre Dame.
Yep.
Right. Even though they're not as big, like Colorado, kind of getting big on their high horse and everything.
Yep.
And for me, it's the idea of like, hey, you take this opportunity right in front of you. Like, you can't worry about next week, can't do anything about yesterday. You can focus on what's going on right now. And for me, that's the main focus. Now, obviously, as a coach, you look at the schedule and you see some games. It's like, okay, that's a big game. But when I'm with the girls, I want them focusing on this game right now.
Yeah.
Don't, like, hey, yesterday we had St. Thomas Aquinas. Tomorrow we have Mooney. It's like, hey, when we're here with St. Thomas Aquinas, it's St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah.
That's it.
Don't worry about Mooney.
Yeah. Don't even say the name.
It'll be fair enough. It'll come to you regardless.
Yeah.
For you, who were some of your bell cows, so to speak? Who are the girls that you look at and you go, okay, you're helping our program no matter where you are, what year? Who are some of those ladies you should shout out?
It's something that's been with our program for a while now. Anaya Johnson is somebody who has just really stuck with it from the beginning.
Okay.
Danielle Wickham, both of them are our senior captains. They've been here from the beginning, from when it wasn't so great.
Sure.
And they stuck with it. When, they really could have just bounced and left at any time, but they decided to stay with it and see it through. So I really give props to them. Hannah Myers, she's a sophomore. She's a junior, sorry. Phenomenal player. She's been playing club for years now. She just has such a high volleyball IQ. There's many times where, I'll be talking to somebody else and she kind of has a huddle of the girls together. Then I'll come over and she's like, yeah, we're done. We're ready for a break. I'm like, yeah, okay. It is what it is. So she knows the floor better than anybody else. And then Riley Gillespie, who's a sophomore, she's, again, phenomenal athlete. She plays club. She does everything on the floor for us in the back row. She's my libero, and she's just like a net. Wherever the ball's at, she's probably going to be there. Just the other day, she set a new program single set match record for Diggs in a single match with 31, and then Hannah Myers set a record with 29 kills in a match too. So both of those players, Hannah and Riley, have been really phenomenal for us lately. So, and seeing that kind of play helps elevate the other players on our team. So, like some of the younger girls see that and they're like, okay, I want to be that. You know what I mean? So they're always kind of challenging for that role.
There's another wave coming up, as I understand it, of really good, talented volleyball players. You know, is it nice to have that? I mean, you mentioned that you almost had as many girls come out for volleyball as the boys did for football.
Yeah.
When you see that, or does that kind of put pressure back on you of, oh man, I better make sure that this is worth the wait and worth them trying out and things of that nature?
Yeah, for me, like I always put a lot of pressure on myself to try to get the best out of everyone. And I am very critical of, in the summer of what we're doing in the summer and how we do it. Because for me, I'm like, okay, if I make practice the most challenging part of their week, by the time we get to the game day, it's no problem. I think we're seeing that transition too with obviously the players. The will has to be there, but the talent also has got to be there as well, because if you have one, it's great, but then when you have both, then it's like, okay, then we're moving somewhere. And with the girls, coming out, there's a higher skill level that they're having because they're doing other things outside of volleyball just here at JFK, club or just playing on their own or doing the workouts at home. So there's a real high emphasis of highest standards here now, and that's something that's again, took a while to get to. And once the girls kind of figured that out and understood that and they bought into it, then it's like, all right, things are moving in the right direction now.
You mentioned, you started this when, you just got married, no
Yep.
family,
Yep.
anything. How has your life changed in those 7 years that made things increasingly challenging or increasingly worthwhile?
Yeah, so my wife and I, who's also an alumni, I met her here at JFK. I actually remember where I saw her for the very first time here. She graduated with me in 2007, which doesn't seem that long ago.
Right, goes fast.
My students always tell me that's a long time ago.
They weren't born.
Yeah, they weren't born yet. So we're both alumni. And we have two little ones now. I have a daughter who's starting preschool, Scarlett, and she's over at Rainbow here. That's awesome. Then I have a 1-year-old son, Harrison, who he's walking. So, of course, as many of you parents know, when they're walking, you're in trouble.
Yeah, man. One-on-one defense, right?
Yeah. So, that, as much as, don't get me wrong, I love being a father and everything, but yes, that can always create issues of, okay, who's watching them this day? Do I got everything ready in a diaper bag to drop them off here? I got to get up even earlier for, if we have a 9 o'clock practice, well, I got to get up at 6 because then I got to get them up. I got to take them to, mom and dad's or my mom and dad's or, her mom. So, yeah, it's a little extra, but, it's just part of the process. And, for me, it's just the idea of like, hey, it is what it is. So there's, just go do it. And
Are they ones that come to the game? Do they come and support, or they watch? They'll wait for you to come home.
They'll watch like sometimes online and stuff. But yeah, I think the big fear is with the little ones, they'll want to come hang out with dad.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't be dad. Right? I got to be coach right now. You know what I mean? So daddy can't be holding you and holding hands right now. So, and my oldest, Scarlett, I know in her, she'd be like, well, can't I just go in and play?
Yeah.
So,
well, are you going to, push her towards volleyball?
Whatever she wants to do.
Good.
For me, it's, whatever she enjoys. If she wants to be in plays, she wants to dance, do gymnastics, cheer, whatever. It don't matter to me. So, now I definitely do more volleyball stuff than soccer, or we do basketball, and stuff like that. But, yeah, whatever she wants to do is fine with me.
Awesome. Sam, 7th year. Congratulations on all your success. We're proud
Thanks,
of you. We'll be back right after this